Okay, part three. Um, I want to say this. Uh, Genesis 2 and 24 says, "Therefore a man shall leave his father and his mother and hold fast to his wife, and they shall become one flesh." Husbands, you're not going to like this, but I'm going to tell you the truth. Once you take on a wife, your mama comes second. Now, everybody knows how we are in the black community about our mama. Everybody knows that we love our mama, we support mama, we cherish mama. My mama, hey, love my mama. I've been blessed to have a wonderful mama. And you know, I try to look out for Emma as much as I can because that's my mama. I love my mama. I have a good one. However, men, when you get married, your mother does not come before your wife. These are the types of things that you need to think about before you take on the commitment of being a husband. If you want to still cater to mama over the woman in your life, don't get married. If you choose and decide that you want to be a husband, your mama doesn't have say so in your home. Your wife has the say so in your home. That is between you and your wife. Now, all this stuff about who sit in the front seat and the back seat and all of this petty stuff or whatever, my husband's mother has unfortunately passed along. But being the person that I am, I'm not so stuck on I've got to be in the front seat that his mama's got to sit in the back. I wouldn't care if his mother sat in the front seat. Honey, sit in the front, sit down, kick your feet up, you know, make sure your seatbelt is on. It's not that big of a deal to me. That's still my husband. We're still one. We're still going to the same place. You know, we're still whatever. Some people have this, you have to have this control that, oh no, you're not coming before me. But that's also partly because you have made your wife feel like she may not be as important and she has to come behind everyone else. So she's being assertive, possibly when she may not need to be. It is up to you. Remember, Christ leads you, you lead the wife, you lead the household. Okay? I'm sorry. Christ leads you, you lead the house. So when you are in line with the word of God, I'm not talking about society. When you are in line with the word of God, if you are truly trying to be a Christian husband, your mama does not come before your wife. Your mama does not get to disrespect your wife just because that's your mama and then your wife ain't supposed to say nothing. That is where you should step in and say, Mama, I understand that you might be upset. I understand that this might not be the situation. I understand that you may not even like my wife, but you cannot disrespect her and treat her like she's less than or like she's nothing to you because she's everything to me. And if you love me and I love her, then you should love her because she's making me happy. Now, you don't always have to agree with everything. But you cannot mistreat people just because you have the title of a mother and then expect everybody to bow down to you just because you're somebody's mama. Everybody got a mama. Everybody has one. And that does not give you the right to mistreat someone just because, well, that's my son and I'm his mama. How do you want to be treated? What if you were the wife and your husband's mama were treating you that way? How would you feel? Oh, that's different. No, it's not. That's a person too. Treat people the way you want to be treated. If you don't like her, fine. I'm not saying that you have to like anybody or whatever, but respect is due, especially when you want respect back. And husbands, you cannot take a back seat and then gang up on your wife who's in the home with you, cooking for you, cleaning for you, bending over for you, spreading their legs for you, doing all of these different things. When things go bad, when you need support, when you need whatever you need, when you come home every day, you walk into that door to your wife, not your mama. And at what point and at what age do you grow up and become a man that does not run to his mama? But then you want your wife to respect you. Well, I'm a man and treat me like a man. Well, you acting like a boy, because every time I turn around, you talking to your mama like we're in junior high. And I'm not talking about having a close relationship with your mama where y'all on the phone and have laughing conversations, because I love that. My son died when he was 14 years old. So I would give anything to have my son back so that I could have those laughing conversations with my son. I cannot. I'm talking about every time there's a problem between you and your wife, instead of you going to God and then having a conversation with your wife, you run to your mama and then you and your mama gang up on your wife. But then when things are cool, you want your wife to respect you. You're tearing down your own home. You're tearing down your own home. 1 Corinthians 7:3 says the husband should give to his wife her conjugal rights, and likewise the wife to her husband. For the wife does not have authority over her own body, but the husband does. Likewise, the husband does not have authority over his own body, but the wife does. Do not deprive one another, except perhaps by agreement for a limited time that you can devote yourselves to prayer. You cannot use sex as a weapon, ladies, because we're the ones that do it. Because men don't care how mad I've been. Get butt naked and see what happened. He don't care how mad he was at you yesterday because you showed out at the family cookout. Go home and get butt naked and see what's going to happen. He going to jump right in there. He don't care. Females have the attitude of, don't touch me. I'm mad at you right now. And you can't get none. And, all of this other stuff. And I'm going to show him or whatever. You're out of line. You're out of line and you're out of pocket. You cannot use sex as a weapon in your marriage. You cannot deny your husband or deprive your husband because you have an attitude. If it bothers you that bad for whatever happened, you need to come together and have a discussion. And I'm not talking about a yelling and screaming match. I'm talking about an actual sit-down conversation so that you two can work out whatever the problem may be. I don't care if you boot over and then go back to being mad. Take care of each other's responsibilities sexually. Like I said, some people's not going to want to hear that, but I'm going to tell you what the words say. That's what's in the book. So if you don't like it, then you mad at God. You ain't mad at me because that's his command. You cannot use sex as a weapon. We want to. We do it all the time. And we're wrong. We're out of line. You should not get an attitude with your husband and point out everything that's wrong with him, and you sick of him because we've been together for 20 years and he on my nerves, so I just don't want to give him none. Well, then divorce him and leave, because you're out of line if you're just trying to sit there to deprive him and point out all of his flaws, because guess what? He dealing with your flaws too, because none of us are perfect. All of us have flaws. So the same way we have to accept his flaws, guess what? He's accepting yours too. You're not so perfect on this planet that you don't have flaws, that you don't have issues and things that you need to work out too. But he's still there with you. He's still there with you. So let's take a real look in the mirror and let's come together and say, what can we do? Not what you need to do. What we need to do. to make this thing work so that we can have the relationship and the marriage and the sex that we want to have. Part 4